it's Erica. Welcome back to Maniacal Reader. Today I'm doing my March and April book haul. I know that this video is a few weeks late, but the reason why it's late is because I bought some books near the end of April, so I had to wait for them to come in order to do this haul. But let's get started. I only bought a couple of books in March, so I'll start with those. The first book I bought was Anything You Can Do by R.S. Gray. This is a new adult romance standalone. It follows these characters named Daisy and Lucas. Daisy and Lucas have been enemies their entire lives. They've always had a rivalry. Now that they're both adults, they've moved back to their hometown and they're both looking for a job at their family clinic. Daisy thinks that she's the only doctor that's applied for the job at the family clinic, so she's surprised to hear from the head doctor there that her old enemy Lucas will also be working at this family clinic. When they both start working at the family clinic, their rivalry resurfaces right where it left off. Their rivalry eventually turns into a romance. I really liked this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. This was my first R.S. Gray read. I read this book as the book club pick for the month of March for the New Adulting Central Book Club I'm a part of. I really liked the connection between Lucas and Daisy. Daisy is the one who wants to continue the rivalry with Lucas. Lucas has secretly always loved Daisy, so that's where their romance is interesting and complications arise because of that. It was a sweet romance, a nice romantic comedy, and I really enjoyed it. I'll put all the info to the New Adulting Central Book Club down below, as well as the live show, if you'd like to go and watch it and hear more about this book. The second book I bought in March was If You Were Mine by Melanie Harlow. This is another new adult romance standalone, and it follows these characters named Claire and Theo. Claire needs a date for her friend's wedding, so she goes on this website to sort of rent a date for the evening because her friends are always wondering why she hasn't had a date in a while and things like that. So she rents Theo for the evening. They decide to have a one-night stand with no strings attached, but then their relationship develops into something more. I read this book for the book club pick in the month of April and I gave it 4 stars. I really liked the connection between Theo and Claire. Claire is a shy girl who's introverted and doesn't really like to put herself out there when it comes to guys, so when she meets Theo, who's really confident in his job and is an easygoing guy when it comes to girls, this throws her off. Theo is an interesting character as well. He doesn't come from a good home life, but he's good at what he does. His mom abandoned him when he was little, and his father is an alcoholic that eventually abandoned him as well. He's also got a brother who's an alcoholic, and he's left to take care of his little nieces, so he's a strong guy who really cares about his family, but Theo definitely has his emotional issues. He's not really sure about sharing his life with anyone. When it comes to Claire, he really likes her, but he's not really sure if he wants to get into a serious relationship with her, and this complicates their relationship later on in the book, since Theo has abandonment issues and he tends to freak out over things quite easily. I felt like I really understood Theo though. Even with his abandonment issues, he really seemed like a strong, caring guy. That's why I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I'll also put a link to the live show for this book that's already happened. The next book I have here is Losing It by Cora Carmack. This is the first book in a new adult romance trilogy. It follows this girl named Bliss Edwards, who's determined to lose her virginity since she's in her last year of college and she hasn't lost her virginity yet. She makes a plan to lose her virginity as quick as possible, so she decides to have a one-night stand with a guy. Afterwards, she leaves the gorgeous guy in her bed, and on her first day of class in her last semester of college, she realizes that the guy she slept with is her theater teacher. This book sounds really interesting, and it sounds like it could be a humorous, sweet new adult romance, so I'm looking forward to getting to it. I haven't read a Cora Carmack book, but I heard that she's an awesome new adult author, so I'm really looking forward to this one. The next book I have here is Faking It by Cora Carmack. This is the second book in her companion trilogy. It follows this girl named Mackenzie Miller, whose parents have arrived in town for a surprise visit. But Mackenzie has tattoos and piercings, and she is afraid if her parents see them, they'll disown her. They're also expecting Mackenzie to have a wholesome boyfriend, but Mackenzie has a boyfriend named Mace, who has a neck tattoo and plays in a band. So when she bumps into this guy named Cade in a coffee shop, she makes a request for him to pretend to be her fake boyfriend, and he agrees to play the part. He plays the part too well, and Mackenzie and Cade have to keep up their charade. But what they don't realize is, even though they're trying to be in a fake relationship, the feelings between them become real eventually. This sounds like a really interesting book. It sounds like something that'll be sweet and funny and awkward, so I can't wait to get into this book. Next up, I have Finding It. This is the third and final book in her new adult romance companion trilogy. It follows this girl named Kelsey Summers, who's taking a trip in Europe after her college graduation. She's having the time of her life, but she's lonely, and she's not really sure who she is, so she's finding herself. She bumps into this guy named Jackson Hunt on a few chance meetings, and soon a relationship grows between them. She's not really sure what she'll find out about herself, but she seems to like Jackson. What she doesn't know is that she knows very little about him. The next book I have is Lead Me Not by A. Meredith Walters. This is the first book in a new adult romance duology. It follows this girl named Aubrey Duncan, who hasn't forgiven herself for her younger sister dying of a drug overdose. In order to move on from her younger sister's death, she decides to become a counselor in a campus addiction support group. What she doesn't expect is to fall for one of the group members there. When she meets this guy named Max, she realizes that he gives her a reprieve to escape her everyday life and escape in the passion of his arms. Underneath Max's self-confidence, though, is a completely different person. Aubrey isn't sure if she can withstand being in a relationship with Max, or if she can love him enough in order to help him. This sounds like a serious new adult romance, and I really like the serious contemporary books, so I'm looking forward to this book. I've heard that A. Meredith Walters is a fantastic new adult romance writer, and she really knows how to write emotional stories well, so I'm looking forward to this one. The next book I bought was 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I read this book last month and did a spoiler-free book review on it, which I'll link down below, as well as a video discussing the Netflix television series. This is the 10th anniversary of this book, and along with the main story, it has extras in it, like an alternate ending, as well as an essay and an interview with Jay Asher. I'm looking forward to rereading this story sometime in the future. Next up, I have The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This is a YA contemporary trilogy. It follows this girl named Belly, who leaves her school life behind and escapes to Cousins Beach like she does every summer. People that she likes are there. Her mom's best friend and her sons, Conrad and Jeremiah. Belly has been chasing Conrad her whole life, and she's secretly crushing on him. She hopes that this summer will be different. But she's getting looks from Conrad's brother, Jeremiah, and she bumps into this strange guy named Cam. So this looks like to me that both brothers are crushing on the same girl, and Belly isn't really sure who to choose, even though her heart belongs to Conrad. This sounds like a cute contemporary, and I'm looking forward to reading it, since I don't really read a lot of YA contemporary. The next book I have here is At Any Price by Brina Aubrey. This is the first book in the Gaming the System series. This is a new adult romance series. I've heard a lot about this series from Carol over at the Reading Wallflower, and she really loves this series. So I finally decided to buy the first book and check it out. This book follows a girl named Mia, who is a gamer and a blogger, and she decides to auction off her virginity online. She gets a lot of responses, but one guy catches her eye. Adam Drake is a CEO of his own software company, and he earned his first million at 17. Mia and Adam agreed to one night together with no strings attached. but their relationship becomes something more. I'm looking forward to getting to this book. I hope it's humorous, and I'm wondering why Mia decided to auction off her virginity online. I can't wait to get this book, and hopefully I love this series as much as Carol does. We'll see. The next book I have is Amor Amor by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Krista and Becca Ritchie wrote the Addicted series, which I love. It's one of my all-time favorite series, so I wanted to check out their other series. This book follows a girl named Thora James, who's determined to get into a circus show called Amor Amor, and she meets this guy named Nikolai, who can hopefully help her get into the circus show. That's all that I know about this book, but I heard that the romance between these two characters is awesome, and this book also not only touches on romance, but also family as well. The authors know how to write family dynamics well, so I'm looking forward to getting into this series. I'm sure I'll love it as much as the Addicted series. Next up I have Trust in Me by Jay Lynn. This is the second book in her Wait For You series, which is a new adult romance series. This book follows a guy named Cam and his romance with a girl named Avery. The first book, Wait For You, was from Avery's point of view, but the second book follows the events of the first book, but through Cam's point of view. I talked about the first book in my April wrap-up, which I'll link on the eye. I really loved Cam as a character. I totally swooned over him when I read the first book, so I'm looking forward to getting to this book and seeing the events of his relationship from his point of view. The next book in the series is Be With Me. This book follows the romance of Cam's best friend Jace and his romance with Cam's sister Tessa. It sounds like these two are an interesting pairing, and I'm really looking forward to getting to this book. I wonder how Cam will react to their relationship. Next up I have Stay With Me. This is the next book in the series, and it follows this girl named Kala and her romance with a guy named Jackson James. Kala is 21 years old, and she hasn't really done a lot of things in life. She's never been kissed, she's never seen an ocean, and she's never gone to an amusement park. Kala's also witnessed things that no child should. Her mom is a drunk, and Kala is hiding secrets that she keeps from her college friends. When Kala discovers that her mom has stolen her college money, she has no choice but to return home. When she returns home, she realizes that her mother is nowhere to be found. So she has to try to get a job. But when she's looking for a job, she comes across Jackson James, who gets in her business from the moment they meet, and doesn't want to leave her alone. It sounds like Kala and Jackson may get off on the wrong foot when they first meet, but hopefully their relationship turns into something more. The next book in the series is Fall With Me. This book follows a girl named Roxy, who has loved a guy named Reese Anders since she was 15. Roxy and Reese have a steamy encounter years later, and Roxy hoped that Reese would fall for her, but he didn't. So it looks like they have a one-night stand. Because of Roxy's job, Reese comes back into her life again, and that's where things get complicated. This sounds like another interesting romance, and since this is a companion series, I'm sure that these characters are all connected in some way. The second last book in this series is called Forever With You. This book follows a girl named Stephanie, whom we met in the first book. I'm interested to get her story. Apparently, Stephanie has a job in mixed martial arts, and she has hot flings with this guy named Nick. I didn't really like Steph in the first book for obvious reasons, but I'm interested to hear more about her story and get to know her character more. So I am definitely looking forward to this book for sure. The last book in this series is Fire in You. I don't want to spoil myself since this is the final book in this series, but I know that Jennifer Ellerman writes romance really well since I read her Luck series a few years back, so I hope that I like this series. Those are all of the books that I bought in April and March. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one.